Hello there, and welcome back to another Star Wars What If reaction. In this video, we'll be reacting to What If Dooku Stole Anakin Skywalker After Qui Gon's Death, Part 1. This video is made by the Star Wars Galaxies, so make sure to check them out, the links in the description. And without further ado, let's get right into reacting.
Right. This is an exciting reaction because this is a three-part What If that we're reacting to. What if Dooku stole Anakin Skywalker after Qui Gon's death? 3 parts. And it's a collaboration between the Star Wars Galaxy, Penti Patrol Star Wars, and Fantasy Folklore. 3 of the best Star Wars What If channels on YouTube. So I'm really excited. Let's get into part 1. Part 1 is, of course, made by the Star Wars Galaxy. Let's get into it.
Our story begins shortly after Dooku has killed Jedi Master Yaddle and officially taken his place as the Sith apprentice under Darth Sidious. Dooku missed the funeral for his longtime friend and former Padawan Qui Gon Jinn in order to become the Sith apprentice. But even while accepting the dark side, he still regretted how Qui Gon died. For years, Dooku has wondered if Qui Gon would ever have joined him in this path.
No, he wouldn't.
Deep down, he knew it was extremely unlikely, and his master consistently told Dooku that Qui Gon was far too ingrained in the light side to ever truly join them. But weeks after the death of Qui Gon, Dooku would find out that part of his master still lives on. Not physically as Qui Gon, but instead as something Qui Gon wished for as he died.
Anakin Skywalker.
The young new Jedi, Anakin Skywalker. And Dooku knew that if he could not bring Qui Gon to the dark side, then perhaps this rumored chosen one would be the perfect replacement.
Well, that's great.
And one of the first lessons of the Sith was also something Dooku took to heart. Treachery is the way of the Sith.
Indeed,
and so
it is.
Dooku wanted a backup plan for if Sidious ever decides to be done with him.
Wow, and Dooku is gonna steal the chosen one for himself. Very interesting.
Anakin would not only be the perfect backup plan for Dooku's own future, but it would also take away an option for Sidious. As Anakin would soon disappear from the galaxy. Dooku would go on to contact the bounty hunter he trusted most in the entire galaxy. Jango Fett. And Dooku gave him new orders. Jango has been an elite asset in development of the secret clone army, and Dooku now paid him handsomely to go to the Jedi Temple, find a way to capture Skywalker, while also
how is Jango gonna pull that off, though?
Making it look as if he has died. So in the coming days, Jango would hire a squad of rogue Mandalorians, and they would infiltrate the Jedi Temple, just like in the days of the Mandalorian War with the Jedi.
Damn.
This group would shut down the temple security systems and then make their way through the vents as the Jedi were scrambling to figure out exactly
hey, Cad Bane did it, so, you know,
what was going on. And meanwhile, as the Jedi were trying to find the internal intruders, Jango flew his jetpack to where Anakin was training with Obi-Wan, along with Jedi Council Master Oppo Rensis. Oppo was involved in a skirmish on
so how the hell is Jango gonna pull that off?
Mandalore around a decade ago, and Jango made sure to say that this was revenge for that skirmish, so the temple security audio systems would hear him. And then Jango fired a rocket directly into the training grounds. But Jango also perfectly fired a cable, wrapping it around the young Anakin, pulling him off of the ledge as the rocket hit the training grounds. Oppo was killed immediately.
This is so big, dude, because he just killed Oppo Rensis, man. And Oppo Rensis, as much as we don't see much about him, he's a key member of the Jedi Council.
Obi-Wan put up enough of a Force shield to save himself, though he was blown hard through a wall. Obi-Wan was knocked out in the blast, and
the fact that he could have killed Obi-Wan here as well is just insane.
He soon looked up to see that the training center was completely blown up, with no sign of either Oppo or Anakin, as it was clear that they either were directly hit by the rocket, or they fell forever down into the streets of Coruscant. And for days upon days, as well as constant nights without any sleep, Obi-Wan would search for Anakin, while the council members tried to tell him that Anakin is gone, and he must accept it.
Well, he's gone on the way, except he's not dead, he's kind of kidnapped.
But for Obi-Wan, this was like losing his master all over again. His final promise to Qui-Gon.
That's also really sad to Anakin, because, to Obi-Wan, because, this is not long after Qui-Gon's death, so, God, what is Obi-Wan gonna do now?
To train the boy failed so suddenly, and Obi-Wan felt...
You know, actually, what I see that could happen in this What If is that Obi-Wan just takes his training extremely seriously and becomes way more skilled and powerful than in the original timeline because of, both Anakin and Qui-Gon dying. Well, Anakin didn't die, but he thinks so.
felt terrible. But Anakin was safe. He was alive, all the way across the galaxy on the planet Sereno, deep in the underground portion of the castle where Dooku resided. Jango captured the boy, knocked him unconscious, and now this had become Anakin's new life. His serene time at the temple was now replaced by a dark haze, as Dooku was his only company.
Great. From a slave to slave. Pretty much. He's a slave to Dooku now. Pretty much, you know?
Aside from droids. Dooku was trying to tell Anakin that he took him out of a dangerous situation and was now providing him with a real opportunity to not only become as powerful as a Jedi, but to exceed that power and to not have the restrictions of a Jedi, especially in what is to eventually happen with the galaxy. And eventually Anakin's curiosity would get the better of him, and he wanted to know why Dooku didn't trust the Jedi. And Dooku would throw constant lies at the young, naive Skywalker, telling him that he has much experience.
Anakin is about to be brainwashed like crazy.
With the Council, especially with Yoda, and he recently came upon a terrible discovery. The Jedi Order plans to overthrow Chancellor Palpatine and take over the Republic.
Bro, the gaslighting in here is crazy.
For themselves. Anakin told Dooku he couldn't believe this, that the Jedi that he met, like Obi-Wan and Qui Gon, were good people. Dooku nodded, agreeing with Anakin. He continued on by saying that not all Jedi are evil, but they are simply being indoctrinated into a lifestyle that they don't understand.
Wow, bro.
And when the Council does choose to overthrow the Republic, they will have the entire Jedi Order with them. Unless, of course, they can be stopped. And now Dooku said that this is the reason he captured Anakin, because he can be the change that the galaxy so desperately needs.
Oh,
Dooku
goodness.
continued to just praise Anakin, treating him like a long-lost son, saying how much he needs Anakin by his side.
Like long-lost grandson. Oh, I mean, Dooku here is already like 70 years old.
And eventually, Anakin would give in, as Dooku knew how much Anakin longed for a father figure like this. Dooku could feel Anakin's
grandfather figure.
immense power in the Force, along with his strong emotions, just begging to break through and help him achieve power. And so, Dooku would eventually begin training the boy. Dooku was pleased with this success, and over the next few years, Dooku would split time training Anakin, doing the bidding of his Sith Master, and also spending time somewhere else. The more Dooku now trained
somewhere else, that sounds interesting.
Anakin, the more he realized that in time, he should be the true Sith Master, not Palpatine, and being by
Okay.
Palpatine's side taught Dooku the best way to slowly get rid of Palpatine without making himself look bad. Political manipulation.
Oh, wow.
And in order to spend time in between these three tasks...
God, the Sith just become more political than actually Sith.
Dooku would train himself to let go of the need to sleep. Sidious had already figured out how to use the dark side to stay awake forever, and so Dooku put much time into it as well.
Wait, what? Awake for... The fuck? I never heard about that. Sidious is just a walking zombie. Damn.
Well, until his sleep was less than just a few hours per week. Training Anakin would be no easy task, but it was easily the most enjoyable part of his new, busy life. The young boy was eager to learn, and Dooku had to balance teaching Anakin the dark side without truly telling him it was the dark side. Anakin had a good heart, but deep in that heart were the emotions needed to cement him in the darkness.
Great.
And so, in training, Dooku would make every lesson just tough enough for Anakin to need to reach into these emotions and use them to make himself more powerful. Dooku would take Anakin to Ilum, and he would manipulate the Force to show Anakin horrors and darkness before he was eventually gifted his lightsaber crystal.
Wow.
Anakin would see Jedi fighting in war, ravaging planets.
So, he's gonna have to corrupt that crystal now, isn't he? Yeah.
And it would further Anakin's belief that he and Dooku were on a mission in this galaxy to save the people from the Jedi.
Yeah, sure, buddy.
And so while Anakin continued to develop, Dooku would build a meaningful relationship with former Chancellor Valorum. When Palpatine...
Whoa! Okay. That's a big plot twist, and I like that. I don't know. Every time Valorum is brought up in a what if, it's just very interesting.
orchestrated the vote of no confidence in Valorum, it caught the former Chancellor off guard, and he now just resided in retirement on Coruscant. Dooku would speak with the man, who felt he tarnished the legacy of his family's name. And Dooku would express frustrations, concerns with how Palpatine is handling his time in office. At first, Valorum would not want to be involved in politics.
What is Valorum even supposed to do, though? He served his terms as Chancellor, did he not? He can't be Chancellor again, you know? Can't be re-elected again when he already served, you know, enough time. So.
Any longer. But Dooku was nearly as good in political games as Palpatine himself, and he would tell Valorum that Palpatine plans to wipe out the Republic and take over the galaxy for himself. Valorum was by no means a great man, but he also couldn't just sit by.
Well, how about that? Valorum wasn't actually a bad Chancellor, but he was kind of a Chancellor in like a shit time, you know? So he couldn't really do fuck all about the Republic being corrupt, so he was kind of screwed from the beginning when he became Chancellor, so he was cooked either way, you know? He wasn't actually a bad man, so to say.
Do nothing, as Palpatine potentially builds an empire. So, he promised Dooku that he would speak to senators of core worlds and ask for their opinions on how they should handle Palpatine's political overreach. Dooku was happy with this, and he made it known that all of this is just stuff he heard as rumors, nothing more than that, and he wishes to remain completely anonymous, which Valorum understood from his years dealing with terrible people across the galaxy. For months, as Valorum moved around to core worlds, slowly creating a frustrated wave that would turn into a tsunami of political frustration, Dooku stepped away, and he would focus more on his duties training Anakin, and also building a separatist alliance in the shadows for the eventual large war.
Oh yeah.
He had his hands in many different fires, but Dooku's many years of frustration and impatience as a Jedi gave him the necessary perspective to work as hard as necessary to do what must be done. The continued training of Anakin Skywalker would only progress positively for Dooku, as he was soon extremely happy with his decision to steal him from the temple. His talents would have been completely wasted as a Jedi, especially
would it have been though?
Training under the inexperienced Obi-Wan Kenobi. Dooku had no doubt that Kenobi could be a wise Jedi someday, but having him train Skywalker now would be a waste of talent. And barely into his teen years under Dooku, Anakin was as strong in the Force as most Jedi Knights.
To be honest, Kenobi trained Anakin in a very impressive way, considering all the circumstances, you know?
His skills with the blade could surely take down any other Padawan in the Order. Now, it was all about getting Anakin accustomed to the galaxy, and so Dooku would begin taking Anakin into the core worlds to show him the greed and the corruption that was taking hold of the galaxy. The two of them would travel to a handful of planets together, but most notably was Vardos. This planet had many extraordinarily beautiful cities, which Anakin admired.
Oh, Vardos, that's the planet that you see and we hear a lot about in the Battlefront 2 2017 story mode with Iden Versio. That planet gets absolutely fucked by the Empire in Operation Cinder. Very interesting part of the Star Wars story and all that. It was a Empire loyalist world, and then obviously it showed how what much worth it was being an Empire loyalist world when it was fucked by Operation Cinder, and then it turned into an absolute fucking battlefield. So,
and the two of them would look on as the wealthy citizens worked their comfy government jobs. But Dooku would then take Anakin to the underground sectors, where people were being worked tirelessly in mining facilities to make the planet function. Dooku told Anakin that this is what most core planets in the Republic have become, with few people at the top living in luxury, while so many others struggle just to stay alive every single day. Anakin asked how they can fix this, and Dooku told Anakin that the Republic needs a new ruler, someone strong and wise that is willing to do what is necessary to bring the change the galaxy needs so desperately.
Alright.
And Anakin looked up at his master, telling him that they will bring this change.
Oh.
And Dooku patted his apprentice on the shoulder, telling him that indeed they will. And so they would return to Sereno, where Anakin would continue to grow stronger, while Dooku checked in on former Chancellor Valorum to learn that things were going better than expected. Perhaps they were even going too well. A group of planets, led by Skako Minor, were withholding resources, mainly Bacta, from being transported to Coruscant, as Palpatine was increasing the tax rates for incoming shipments. This, along with rumors spread by Dooku and Valorum, forced these planets to illegally withhold resources until conflicts began to spark, and this would mark the beginning of what would be known as the House War in the galaxy.
The House War?
It was extremely rare for core worlds to actually fight each other, but as Palpatine...
Wait, how are we gonna have some kind of civil war before the Clone Wars or something?
Sent in security forces to negotiate with the people on Skako Minor, they were attacked by citizens who were displeased with the direction of the Republic. And this...
I mean, it's not really a civil war, it's more like a uprising or what is it called? I mean, violent protests. What's the word? More extreme and violent protests. A coup, not a coup. Well, what am I saying, man? I don't know. Thingy.
Push
Whatever.
forward the bubbling mini-war that would last for roughly a year.
Oh, wow.
As core worlds would go into different factions, with there ultimately being two main ones, Palpatine and Valorum.
It's literally a fucking civil war in the Republic, dude. What the fuck?
But there would also be a factor in all of this that Dooku never saw coming. As the core worlds began to fight amongst each other, Dooku expected the Jedi to just sit back and do nothing. As the Order has
They won't though. They'll try to intercept, make peace.
Evolved over the past few decades to just be lapdogs of the Senate. But all of a sudden, something seemed to be shifting. It was as if this were a wake-up call to the Council and to the Order itself. Palpatine and the Senate were urging the Jedi Council to fight on Palpatine's side. Well,
I don't know though, because, you know, technically, both sides of the Republic, right? Both sides of the Republic. Two different sides of the Republic. And if the Jedi, you know, supposedly serve the Republic, they should serve both sides, which means they should bring peace.
Any resistance from Valorum and the elites on his side, but instead, the Jedi stayed completely neutral. And as Dooku observed from Sereno, he watched the Jedi spread into the core worlds, not as warriors, but as protectors.
Wow.
Not protectors of the elite, but protectors of the people.
That's good.
They were caught in the crossfire of this mini-war with no stake in it. Most of the people, aside from those at the very top, had no stake in these small battles for control of the core worlds. They were just trying to go about their lives, as the wealthy people were waging dangerous battles that were costing lives.
They didn't give
so
a
the
fuck.
Jedi, despite knowing that resisting orders from the Senate could cause them to be caught in the crossfire or exiled from the Republic altogether, were not siding with Palpatine nor Valorum.
Good.
And as this house war went on, Dooku would eventually arrange a meeting with a handful of Jedi Council members.
What? That's actually fucking epic, dude. That's so epic.
To find out their perspective on all of this. Dooku truly thought the Jedi were too far gone to ever really be saved, and he knew of the eventual plan to eliminate them with the clone troopers.
He might just change his mind, you know?
But all of a sudden, Dooku found a new conflict in his mind with what to do with the Jedi. For years, Dooku was able to train Anakin, organize distrust and war between the core worlds, and also be loyal to Palpatine without much trouble. But now, he was wondering if his long-term plans may need to be adjusted to have the Jedi be redeemed in his eventual government.
They might.
He still planned to eventually overthrow Sidious, with Anakin by his side to wrap up the coming Clone Wars, but would he need to wipe out the Jedi? That's what he had to find out.
Don't do it, bro. Don't do it.
And when the Jedi were on their way to Sereno, Dooku would meet with the now 16-year-old Anakin, who had some disdain for what Dooku was doing. For all the years that Anakin trained under Dooku, slowly learning to embrace the dark side, Dooku had taught Anakin that the Jedi were secretly an evil force in the galaxy.
This might spark a problem for Dooku, because, you know, now he brainwashed Anakin, and now he's changing his mind, and you can't, you know, he won't be able to unbrainwash Anakin very easily, will he?
Didn't like that Dooku was willing to meet with them and discuss things peacefully. Dooku understood this, and he urged Anakin to try and take a different approach for now. Perhaps they are wrong, and the Jedi can be on their side when the war comes. But Anakin still was not having this. Dooku told him to wait in his secret lair below the castle, as it is not time yet to reveal that Anakin is actually alive.
Yeah.
So Anakin turned, angered that Dooku would even consider the Jedi to be allies, and he got to his ship. Anakin wasn't just going to sit here alone all day. Instead, he was going to go to Tatooine to visit his mother, even though it was against Dooku's orders.
Okay, well, I mean, it will go well, because this is way before she actually gets captured by the Tusken Raiders, so...
At least once per year, if not more, Anakin had been asking Dooku if he could go visit or save his mother, but Dooku always declined.
Why?
If the Jedi got word that someone saved Shmi,
they
would know that Anakin
that makes sense.
is alive, and the future plans could be ruined. And for years,
But how the fuck would they get word that some random woman got rescued, you know?
Trusted Dooku's judgment with this. But today, Anakin was angry at the man that he'd spent years training under and being raised under, and so he was going to find his mother. Hours later, Dooku was seated behind the desk of Castle Sereno as Yoda, Mace Windu, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and Plo Koon entered, sitting across from Dooku, and they began to converse amongst each other. From the Jedi's point of view, Dooku had basically retired from galactic affairs after leaving the Jedi Order. Dooku's public face was just him being the head of Sereno, and the Jedi were largely unaware of his involvement with any
oh, they're so unaware, dude. He's a fucking Sith Lord.
Separatist movement bubbling under the surface, or his involvement in sowing division among the core worlds. Windu would speak first, expressing his surprise over Dooku calling this meeting, as he didn't know that the mini-war had any concern for him. And Dooku would explain to the Jedi that he left the Jedi Order in part because he thought the Jedi had strayed too far from their duties as protectors of the people, not enforcers of whatever the Senate needs. And for a long while, Dooku would learn that the Jedi were shifting their perspective as the core worlds fought each other. They thought that Palpatine was a strong leader for the people, and they would eventually stay serving under Palpatine without much question if there weren't rumors circulating about his corruption from Valorum and the others. Dooku found this surprising, and so he now asked them about something else. If there is eventually a separatist movement, as some planets have suggested could be possible, would the Jedi fight for the Republic? Mace Windu looked genuinely saddened by this. He loved the Republic. Mace's greatest secret was that he did have an attachment, despite the rules of the Jedi Code. He had an attachment to the Republic itself, as he truly thought it was what the galaxy needed. But seeing the core worlds
fight so maybe fix the Republic, you know?
Fight amongst each other had basically shattered Windu's confidence in the Republic. And so, the Jedi said that if there were ever a war between Republic and Separatists, they would likely remain neutral, or even serve the other side, if their reasoning for war
that would have been insane, bro.
Made sense. Dooku took all of this in, and eventually, the Jedi would have to go back to the temple, and Dooku was left with a true dilemma. He needs the Clone Wars to take over the galaxy, but his good memories of the Jedi were rising up, and he couldn't quell the desire to save them. Maybe he's not as dark as he thought. Either way, that was a problem for later, and Dooku called for Anakin to join him in a training session out in the forest. But Anakin didn't answer, and all the way on Tatooine, Anakin Skywalker finally found his mother once again. She was no longer a slave. Instead, she was bought into a family that loved her, with a husband and 2 children. And when Anakin arrived, the entire family embraced him, and they shared a wonderful meal together until sunset, when Anakin and Shmi would be alone. And Anakin lied to her, saying he was a Jedi, and everything was wonderful. He couldn't risk compromising the secret of him being with Dooku, not even to his mother. But as the two of them talked, Shmi could tell something was very off with Anakin. He carried a deep sadness, and as the night grew longer, Anakin did begin to reflect on his time with Dooku. He did see Dooku almost as a father, but for the first time, he was able to ask himself if this is truly the life that he wants. Would it be easier to just abandon all of it, be with his mother again? Anakin felt like he was being torn apart internally, but eventually, it was time for him to go. Perhaps, in time, he would return again. And so he would say goodbye to his mother, and he would head back to Sereno,
very interesting,
where a very displeased Dooku would be waiting for him, as both master and apprentice were being called into 2 different directions, with where
Yo, what is this editing, dude? This editing is so good, what the fuck?
To go with their lives. Anakin and Dooku were both beginning to question their darkness, and neither of them knew that the other was doing this. Dooku didn't know what to do about the Jedi. Anakin didn't know what to do about his mother, or himself. He didn't know if he even knew Dooku. It was conflict. Conflict.
Bro, both of them are just confused as shit now.
They would have to settle together. And folks, that is the part 1.
Bro! Yeah, that was so good, man. Honestly, one of the best what ifs. One of the best what ifs that Star Wars Galaxy has made so far. I'm so excited to see part 2 made by Penti Patrol and part 3 made by Fantasy Folklore. I mean, this is gonna be so good. This is a great start to this collaboration between them so far, man. Honestly, so good. Wow, great. Probably my second favorite what if, behind the what if Anakin went to Kashyyyk instead of Yoda in Revenge of the Sith. Just awesome. 10 out of 10 for this what if, by the way. 10 out of 10. Let me know what you guys would rate this what if in the comment section down below. Whether you agree with my 10 out of 10 rating, or if you don't, and why. Yeah, that's it. 10 out of 10. Great what if.
And that is it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, make sure to subscribe to the Star Wars Galaxy for more of these what if reactions. Subscribe to me as well. We're trying to reach 500 subscribers right now, and we're getting really, really close. Like the video if you enjoyed, as that helps you to push this video out to more people. And of course, do turn on notifications so you're notified next time I post a video like this. Also, if you want to support the channel and get exclusive perks, consider joining our Patreon, and remember to join our Discord server. The link is in the description. And yeah, comment down below any thoughts, any feedback on this video, and of course, if you have any suggestions for any what ifs that you would like for me to react to. And once again, thank you very much for watching. This is the way, and may the Force be with you. Until then, I will see you next time.
Hey, you didn't watch it? Well, check out the video on the left side of the screen, which is specifically recommended for you, or check out the playlist on the right of the screen, which contains similar videos to this one, made by me, of course. Hey, remember, subscribe.